Well, thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to take a look at some old archive video from the Scottish Twinshock Scramble Club's Forestmill event in Clackmannanshire in 2005. Now this was a particularly wet event due to the really heavy overnight rain on the Saturday night. Now here we go with the over 40s and over 50s class as they leave the start line and head up to the top of the hill. In the lead there is number 37, that's the world famous Walter Bickmore on the 490 Michael as he turns at the bottom of the hill to head back up. Once he gets that Michael singing, he's well away. Okay, as the head back round to complete lap 1, it's still Walter Bickmore, number 37 there with a very substantial lead. Callum Sangster there in 222 on the 250 Michael. Stuart Baird on the CZ there, just turning in. Followed by Dunoon man Grant McClure. So Walter comes and he's heading up the hill. He's really got that Michael singing as he clicks the gears up to the top of the hill, turn left, back down. A very, very slippy track this due to the wet weather and the adverse camber on the turns. What doesn't seem to be a problem for Walter at the moment. Okay, second place is still Callum Sangster there in number 222 on the 250 Michael. Stuart Baird on the CZ as he heads up the hill. Ayrshire man. And here's Walter heading back round to start lap 3. Walter, of course, was the Scottish champion in 2006 and a very, very accomplished and experienced rider. Now that, of course, is Mike Doby, number 27 there on the 490 Michael. Still races bikes to this day, Mike. And as Walter turns at the bottom of the track to head back up the hill, still got a substantial lead. That is Gary White there on the old CZ, but I'm sure Gary is a tail ender. He's not in second place as it seems. There's your second place man now, Stuart Baird on the big CZ, just passing Callum Sangster for that second place. Now of course it's no secret of the titanic battles that Walter has had with Scotland's top Twinshock rider Paul Chiappa. Throughout the years they've had some really fantastic battles on the track, and hopefully later in this video you will see Paul and Walter locking horns once again. Okay, there's a second place man coming around, Stuart Baird, number 41 on the CZ, as the rain starts to fall again. And it looks like Walter's got this particular race in the bag as he slithers and slides his way to the win. That there is number 14, that's Brian Hamilton on the old KTM as he puts the power on. And at the bottom of the track there, that is John McKell from Ayrshire as he takes his 490 Michael and turns it at the bottom of the track to head up. Jock is of course a very ardent club member and races at all the Scottish Twinshock events. Giving the big 490 Michael the message as he goes up the hill and turns to head back down. Very tricky part of the track, this turn at the bottom because of the adverse camber and the very, very wet riding conditions, but Jock seems to have circumnavigated it quite well as he heads up the hill. That's Gary White there again, number 102 on the CZ. Unfortunately, it looks like Mike Doby has stopped his machine and has a bit of a mechanical problem, which is, as you know, unusual for a Myco. Okay, the race 2 now. These are the combined pre-77 and 4-stroke class for basically the older bikes and any 4-stroke machines as they leave the start line. Looks like a good start for James McLean on the old XT Yamaha. But, Ian Robertson seems to have taken the lead momentarily on the YZ465 Yamaha. Ian Robertson, of course, just lives a couple of miles from this particular track, so not a lot of travelling for Ian to do on this particular occasion. Stuart Baird there in second place, James McLean in third. That is Alan Tom in fourth place on the XR Honda. Just trying to remember some of the riders in this particular clip because obviously this was a few years ago. That's Gary Britton there on the little Suzuki, number 127. Oh dear, someone seems to have dropped his old Yamaha, but still Ian Robertson on the YZ465, number 16, who seems to have opened a quite substantial lead over the second place man. Should be still Stuart Baird. As soon as we can get a look, we'll confirm that. Ian's making the turns and he looks quite comfortable on that old YZ465 Yamaha. Well, it looks like Ian Robertson has this particular race in the bag and he looks quite comfortable on his 465, barring any mechanical failures or other factors. Now there's your second place man, Keith Baird, who in fact is a very accomplished engine builder for these old XT-TT Yamaha motors. So a great rider, Keith, and a good mechanic for these particular motors by all accounts. Now number 44 you're looking at there is of course the club chairman, Rick Caldwell from Ayrshire. I think Rick's about 6'5" or 6'6", which is a couple of inches taller than myself, but he's a decent rider as well, Rick, and he's making the most of these wet conditions with his old XR Honda. Okay, it looks like Ian Robertson's heading for the checkered flag in this particular race. Ridden a good race right from the front, right from the start, so looks like Ian's heading for the win. Keith Baird is still there in second place on the XT Yamaha. And this rider here, of course, is Alan Tom, who hasn't raced with the club for many, many years now. Looks like Gary Britton and Roddy Ross on the right there are having a bit of a tussle for the lesser places. Roddy Ross on the old pre-75 Myco there, or Roddy the Leg as he used to be known, but that's another story. Okay, that's Roddy Ross there on the old 1975 Myco. Okay, it's time for the big boys to come out to play now. This is the Twinshock Open class. These are all the big Twinshock bikes, the 490 Mycos, Yamahas, and the big bikes. Should be some good racing in this particular race. Look out for Walter Bickmore, Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith, who is on the extreme right of that picture. There's Callum Wilson, who is still trying to recover his Rotax Myco back to the pits from the pre-77's 4-stroke race. As you can see, very wet indeed. Okay, they're just about under starters orders here. Club Secretary Joe McLean doing the honours at the start gate. So it just looks like they're about under starters orders, ready to leave the line. They're just about ready to go, and they're off. Heading up the hill, looks like a brilliant start for Brian Allardyce. Paul Chiappa just slips past to take the lead. Number 1, Paul Chiappa, the 16 times Scottish champion, who has just in fact secured another championship in 2017. So it's Walter Bickmore that takes the inside line. It's Bickmore first, Chiappa second, Allardyce third, and looks like Craig Smith in 4th place there. A couple of riders, that's Ed Scrivener, who's just dropped his Husqvarna. A couple of riders finding it a bit difficult to circumnavigate that turn 1. So there's your leader at the moment. It's number 1, Paul Chiappa on the 490 Myco. Of course, it was only about a year later that Paul had his big horrendous crash at Kincardine in 2006, which actually nearly finished Paul's racing career, and he was had a bad tumble on his 490 Myco and had to be helicoptered to hospital in Edinburgh. Of course, Paul being Paul, 2 or 3 weeks later he was out of hospital, and it wasn't long before he was back on his bike and winning races. What a guy. And that's Brian Hamilton, number 14 on the Husqvarna, just making the turn there. As you can see, the track very, very slippy. Okay, here's your leader here, number 1, Paul Chiappa. Brian Allardyce on the old KTM is in 2nd place. Craig Smith there on the 400 Myco in 3rd, and that is Simon Watson on the JBR Honda. Gary White looks like he's trackside with another mechanical problem on his CZ. But Paul is having no problems whatsoever with these very adverse racing conditions. Always makes these kind of conditions look really easy to ride in. But 2nd place there is still Brian Allardyce, a very accomplished Scottish rider. Brian normally rides his Myco, but it looks like today he's opted for the KTM. Walter Bickmore there, number 37 in 3rd place on the 490 Myco. So as they head up the hill, it's still number 1, multiple Scottish champion Paul Chiappa on that very, very quick 490 Myco. Bit tricky this turn at the bottom, but once he gets the Myco clicking up the gears, he's powering up the hill. Walter Bickmore there, he's still circumnavigating and doing what he can to try and catch Chiappa in 1st place. Okay, as we head into the turn again, it's still number 1, Paul Chiappa in the lead, and it looks like Brian Allardyce has made a bit of ground on the multiple Scottish champion in 2nd place there on the KTM. Walter Bickmore still circumnavigating at a good speed, and still in there should anything happen to the front pairing of Chiappa and Allardyce. Now coming up here on the Honda CR250 Red Rocket, that's Jock Baird, Ayrshireman, one of the many Baird brothers who of course are all racing at this particular event this weekend. And just coming towards us there is number 9, that's Alistair Aitken from Oban. So Alistair's a far travelled rider today. So as we look back down the track looking for the leader, it looks like it's still Paul Chiappa with a good lead over second place man Brian Allardyce, but Brian is still in there. Just a slip or maybe a fall for Paul Chiappa would hand Brian this race. Brian's riding a really good race and he's right on Chiappa's tail now with I think this is the last lap of this particular race as they head up the hill. If Brian Allardyce could get a good line at the bottom of the track and see if he can overhaul that 490 Michael as they head up the hill. Brian getting the power down as the roosts are coming off the back wheel of that big KTM. But Chiappa is still riding superbly, hasn't really put a foot wrong in this particular race, and it looks like he will cross the finish line as the winner of this race. Brian Allardyce still doing well. He's a big guy at Brian and a very accomplished rider. Okay, coming round again, and still looks like Alistair Aitken, number 9 there, from Oban, as I said before. Brian does a lot of travelling to all these Scottish Twinshock events. That's Gary Roxburgh there on the Michael, turning right. In fact, that bike behind it could possibly be my old 250 Michael. Okay, there they go, that's Simon Watson on the JBR Honda, one of the two Watson brothers from the northeast of England. I'm sure Simon's brother Donald is also racing at this event today. Okay, that's Brian Allardyce as he powers up the hill, still trying to make ground on Chiappa to get the better of him in this race, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen in this particular race, but he's still in there with a watching brief should anything happen. Walter Bickmore there on the grass looking for the drier traction to get up the hill. That's Craig Smith, number 2 on the 400 Michael. Okay, as they head round, heading towards the checkered flag, we're just waiting to pick up the leader again. Here's your leader here, number 1, Paul Chiappa. Brian Allardyce there, still in second place. And Simon Watson in third on the JBR Honda. It seems to have passed Walter Bickmore for that third place. Stuart Baird coming up on the CZ, slithering and sliding his way to the checkered flag. And that's club rider, that's Steve Cruikshank on the, looks like the CR250 Honda. Grant McClure from Dunoon on the Michael there on the right hand side, with his buddy and travelling companion Malcolm McNabb on the old YZ Yamaha. Okay, Chiappa has already crossed the line for the win, and Brian Allardyce finished second. That is Jock Baird there on the CR250 Honda. Okay, now we're going to move on to the modern monoshock class. Now this is the B class, which is basically for day entries and non-championship registered riders. Now if you look carefully and look out for the KTM number 6 of lady motocross rider Kerry Wilson, and as they leave the start line, it looks like Craig Smith on the 500 Honda has got the whole shot to turn 1 at the top of the hill. Kerry Wilson is in third place there on the 125 KTM as they head down to the turn at the bottom of the hill. Craig Smith first. I'm not exactly sure who that's second. There's Kerry Wilson there turning on the 125 KTM. Now unfortunately I'm not exactly up to speed with all the riders in this particular race, but hopefully I will be able to pick out one or two of these riders. I'm not exactly sure who that is that has taken the lead there. Looks like David Watson. It could possibly be David Watson, I may be wrong. Okay, in second place coming round, there's Dykes Wilson, and there's Kerry Wilson on the 125 KTM, a very accomplished lady rider, and she can certainly show the guys a thing or two about how to ride a motocross bike. There's Kerry coming down from the turn at the top of the hill, down to make the adverse camber turn to head back up. In second place, Craig Smith there on the 500 Honda, doing a bit of off-track excursion riding there as he heads up the hill. I'm unsure who this rider is on the YZ 400 Yamaha, but he seems to be struggling a bit to get that big beastie up the hill. Okay, there's your leader coming down from the top of the track. As I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure who the particular rider is. It does look like David Watson, but of course I stand and await to be corrected. This Craig Smith is still circulating, although it looks like he's heading for a retirement on his 500 Honda. Looks like he's chucking the race in. Maybe Kerry Wilson's too quick for him and he doesn't want to be embarrassed. Maybe that's the problem. Okay, there's Kerry Wilson there on the 125 KTM. Still closing in on that first place rider. Really going very quick on this really wet track. And naturally not a lot of riders in this particular monoshock race, due to the fact that these are just the day members. That's just people that turn up on the day to race their bikes. Of course, the monoshock A-Class, which is next, you will see a lot more riders in that particular race. Okay, next race. These are the monoshock A-Class. Now these are all the modern monoshock bikes, and these riders are all championship registered riders, so these guys will be racing for the that year's championship. And I'll just see if I can pick out a few of the riders for you in this particular race. Number 275 there is Sean Docherty on the YZ Yamaha. Next to Sean is number 38, that's Craig Stevenson. Number 65 is Bill Bruce on the Honda. 177 is Davey Watson as they line up on the start line, ready to be let loose. Good lineup of riders for this particular race, due to the fact that these are championship, of course, riders. These will be racing for the championship in this particular year. Now on the extreme right you see John Suter on the yellow Suzuki as they head up the hill. A good start from Craig Stevenson on the 4-stroke Suzuki there, number 38, as they head back down the hill. John Suter moving up into second place on the 2-stroke Suzuki. So it's Craig Stevenson making the turn. Suter has the inside line on the 2-stroke and takes the lead. Sean Docherty heading up the hill as well, as the rest of the pack make their way around the bottom of the hill. Still very slippy, still very muddy, but they appear to be making the first turn okay. So as they head round to start lap 1, it's John Suter on the 2-stroke Suzuki. I think it's a 250 that John's riding today. John, of course, does not ride motocross bikes any longer. John is a very accomplished triathlon athlete, which is John's main passion at the moment. So John, a really quick rider when he was riding, but has decided to move on to better things. Okay, as the riders come round to complete lap 1, John Suter is still in the lead there, number 118, as he heads up the hill to make the turn back down. Very, very quick rider, John Suter from Forfar in Scotland. Really quick rider when he was on these bikes. Okay, second place there is Craig Stevenson on the 4-stroke Suzuki. That's Ryan Bruce there coming up the hill on the 4-stroke Honda. Ryan, of course, does not live in Scotland anymore, has emigrated to Australia. But it's still John Suter there on the Suzuki, strutting his stuff. Second place man just making the turn at the back of the track there. So coming around, it's still Craig Stevenson in second place on the 4-stroke Suzuki. Now that is Angus MacLeod, number 46 on the CR 250 Honda. So there's your leader, still number 118, John Suter on the 2-stroke Suzuki as he heads down the hill to make the turn to head back up. Makes it look so easy, this guy, when he's riding a bike. Powers his way up the hill. Craig Stevenson still in second place, still trying to make ground on that very quick bike of Suter's. Craig turns at the bottom of the hill and heads up. Angus MacLeod looks like he's still in third place, but it looks like Suter is not going to have any problems whatsoever as he slithers and slides his way around this Forestmill racetrack. Just waiting on the second place man at the bottom of the track here. Should be Craig Stevenson as he comes into shot. There he is. Craig Stevenson still in second place on the 4-stroke Suzuki, riding a really good race. Angus MacLeod just bringing up the rear in third place there. So still got a substantial lead over the second place man. John Suter just away there. That's Craig Stevenson still in second place. Very, very tiring track this to ride due to the fact that it's so slippy and all the different adverse cambers on the turns. Craig Stevenson just coming around the top end of the track on the 4-stroke Suzuki, making the turn, riding a really good race. Still can't make much ground on the very quick suitor, but you've got to be in it to win it, so just keep the bike upright and keep it on the track is the name of the game today. There's Sean Docherty there on the YZ250 Yamaha. Sean from Gairloch Head in the west coast of Scotland. Very accomplished and very quick rider, and a very popular guy to have around the pits. Sean looking really good in this particular race. Love these two-stroke Yamahas. There's Ryan Bruce there on the 4-stroke Honda. His father Bill, of course, is racing in this particular race as well, so father and son both in the same race. David Watson there on the Suzuki number 177. Just going past. Oh, Craig Stevenson momentarily drops his Suzuki. But no damage done, still kept his place on the track. Actually, I'm quite surprised that they don't drop their bikes more often in these very wet and sticky conditions. And that gentleman there is, of course, the Scottish Twinshock Scramble Club's website photographer, Sandy Eccles. Okay, we're off with the next race now. This is the Twinshock Open class, and as you can see, Paul Chiappa's made a great start from the line again, up the hill, got the whole shot, heading back down to make the turn. Riding really well today, Paul Chiappa. Big Michael really moves when he gets it hooked up. Second place man looks like Stuart Baird on the CZ. Let's try and pick a few of the riders out here. Rick Caldwell on the XR Honda heading up the hill. A couple of riders finding it a bit sticky at the bottom. So it's still Paul Chiappa number 1 on the 490 Michael. Going to take a good rider to try and beat Paul in these conditions today. Still very slippery to get round these adverse cambers. Okay, we're just waiting on the second place man. There's Stuart Baird on the CZ from Ayrshire. Callum Sangster on the 250 Michael. I think it's a 250 he's riding today. Brian Hamilton there on the Husqvarna number 14. So as you head up the hill, there's your second place man, Stuart Baird on the CZ. Stuart, of course, from Ayrshire. Heading down to make the turn, getting onto the grass to try and get that little bit extra grip. Makes the turn and gets those gears clicked up as he heads up the hill. Very quick bike. But it's still Paul Chiappa number 1 who is, has a very comfortable lead on the number 2 man, Stuart Baird. Makes it look easy, but believe me, it's not. Used to race bikes years ago, and I discovered I was absolutely terrible, especially riding in conditions such as these. I just could not make my way around the track. I think that was the day when I put the bike down and picked the camera up. But Paul Chiappa has got this race very comfortably in the bag at the moment as he makes a turn at the bottom of the track and gets that big Michael hooked up to head up the hill. Paul, of course, a very accomplished mechanic on these micro engines. There's not much he doesn't know about them or he can do with them. If you've got any problems with your micro, then this is the guy to see. Okay, Stuart Baird's still there in second place on the CZ. Looks like this particular race is stretching out a bit, and there's a few riders finding it very difficult to make their way around this track as the day goes on. Davy Donald's got problems with his old machine there. Paul Chiappa just straightening out all these turns, and providing he can keep the bike upright, I don't foresee any problems with another win in this race. Yeah, Stuart Baird there, still in second place, still keeping a watching brief on Chiappa in first place. Back wheel locked up to make the turn. Still very slippy out there. Davy Donald there, number 22. Davy looks like he's had enough. Exactly. He's probably saying to himself, how the hell did I get myself into this? But there we go. That's Mike Doby there, number 27. And Stuart Baird makes the turn at the bottom of the track to head up. Riding a really good race, Stuart. Davy Donald there in number 22 on his, it looks like an old Can-Am that David's riding today. David was always famous for his hybrid motocross bikes. Looks like an old Can-Am. It's okay, Davy, there's no shame in putting your feet down in these conditions. Just keep that bike upright. Yes, as David Donald heads back down the hill. You have to be there at the end of the race to get points, so just put those laps in, and points will always make prizes. Okay, now we're back to the combined 377s and 4-stroke class as they line up at the line. Ian Robertson there, the winner of the last race. Club Secretary Joe McLean heading over to let these guys loose off the line. And under starter's orders, and they're away. Good start from Ian Robertson again as they head up the hill. Ian Robertson on the YZ465 Yamaha with the whole shot as he makes a turn to head back down the track. Very quick Ian on this bike. Makes a turn at the bottom and gets that power laid down to head up the hill. Roddy Ross there just coming through shot. James McLean looks like he's had a problem at the turn, has stalled the bike or got mechanical problems on that XT Yamaha. Trying to push the bike off track. It looks like one of the Watson brothers there on the JBR Honda with a problem. But it's still Ian Robertson on the YZ465 who has made the whole shot and is already starting to open up a substantial lead on the second place man. So as we wait to see second place man is Hagar, as I have known him by. His name escapes me at the moment, but people used to just call him Hagar. There's Keith Baird on the XD Yamaha in 3rd place. I think most riders are finding these conditions a bit difficult as the day progresses. The track just seems to be getting slippier and slippier as the day goes on. That's Alan Tom on the XR Honda. Doesn't race with the club very much now. I think this could even possibly be the last time Alan raced with the Scottish Twinshock club. But it's still Ian Robertson on that Yamaha who is showing the pack a clean pair of heels. Riding really well today, Ian Robertson. Alan Tom again as he makes his way around the top part of the track. Ian Robertson still going well on that YZ Yamaha. Number 99, I'm not exactly sure who that particular rider is. Here comes Alan Tom on the XR Honda. Still very slippy out there. Anyhow, that's just about it for this part 1 video from Forestmill in Clackmannanshire. And if you'd like to see more from this particular race event, then look out for part 2 on my YouTube channel, which will be coming up quite soon. Anyway, I'd like to say thanks very much for watching this video. I hope my commentary hasn't been too boring and put you to sleep. So until we show more videos again, look out for more of the same on my YouTube channel coming soon. And thanks for watching.